Hey Cancer, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. We take what works, leave what doesn't. And if you don't catch your storyline or wavelength in this reading, you can go check out the major placements. And we're going to start off with the Oracle decks of Moonology and Work Your Light to get an intuitive vibe. And then we'll move on to another, like a more official tarot deck for a more official, traditional, I think is what I'm trying to say. Reading. So, all right, Cancer, what do we have here? Okay, anything else from the Oracle decks? A little surprised, nothing from Moonology came out. So, what these are energies that are out and about right now. A lot of people getting these cards, both in personal readings and in general. So fascinating. We have Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. There's a conversation that needs to take place. That's what channeling always means to me. Some sort of communication needs to take place, and it's for everyone's benefit. It's going to be uplifting for everybody, even if it is a difficult truth. Eventually, truth is liberating and uplifting. So we have some sort of liberating, uplifting conversation. But it's your mission, it's your job to have this conversation, to start this conversation. We also have Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? This can sometimes have to do with mothers, with our own mothering, what we experience and also what we bring to the table for others. So it can be directly related to your mother and your relationship with her, but there's also a sense in which how can you mother yourself is what it's asking. Nurturing yourself, helping yourself to grow. Mothers are simply people. They can't be 100%. And as with any relationship, they will never be 100% what the other person needs. They're not a perfect match, especially a mother that has multiple children. How could she possibly be 100% for each child, what they needed, right? So we need to approach our mothers with gratitude and with generosity for what they were able to provide for us, and how they were able to do that. So in some ways, how can you mother yourself is also bringing some sense of forgiveness or some sense of understanding that this is just a person. This isn't someone who could have even been everything you needed. And of course, we have moms that were like 5% of what you needed, offering genetic material only. And then other mothers that are 95% of what you needed, but still, even the best mother is going to have some holes there. So you filling in the gaps of what the nurturing you needed. So that takes a lot of self-knowledge to know what you needed and what you didn't get, what you do need. And we're not angry. I mean, sometimes we need to be angry at people, but this isn't a card about, what do I want to say? There's no need to be angry at someone for not being exactly what you needed them to be. It's hard with the mother situation because this is formative years and all of that. But so you will, even if you had the world's best mother, you will have holes and gaps in that and what you needed. So caring for yourself, nurturing yourself, filling in what other gaps that other people were not able to do. And then we have Imrama. This is really interesting. Fascinating. Where are you being called to journey to? There's some place you're actually going. There's some place to go. There's some place that this might be a little pilgrimage to some place familiar, a sacred place, or this could just be a vision quest, just envisioning where you're being called to, envisioning your future, envisioning some place that would be sacred and special to you, some place that you need, that would bring you. Maybe there's a place, and going to this place, or at least envisioning this place, is somehow a way to mother yourself, a way to nurture yourself, and a way to grow yourself. So you're either going on an actual trip here, or you are envisioning a place for yourself in this world, a place where you feel good. And there's something about communicating this, maybe communicating what you need, maybe communicating with your mother, maybe communicating something that you need, some way that you need to be nurtured, communicating what your dream and your vision is, or communicating someplace where you need to go. There's some kind of conversation here about these things, about mothering yourself, about a trip, that's going to be really beneficial for everybody, and everyone's going to come away feeling good and uplifted. In the end, there might be some hiccups, but all right, Cancer, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Okay, you did get one familiar card already this week, the Knight of Wands. Pretty familiar energy going on. It's interesting how the different cards will show up again and again. At least it's interesting to me. But in different spots and in different ways. So it's like the energy is here, but it's affecting everybody differently. In your recent past, you have the Lover's card. This is a choice, a decision. Some sort of decision had to be made, and it was a difficult decision because there wasn't an easy answer here. The Lovers always presents a question of how we're going to live our lives. Are we going to go towards something that calls us, something that resonates deeply with us, a deep connection to our soul? So this can be a person, a job, a situation. Or are we going to ignore that? Are we going to pretend that, or not pretend, are we going to go with what's expected of us, the usual choice, the usual decision? Here we have something that's really struck you as kindred, as part of your path, as part of who you are. You really love this thing. You feel, and it could be a person or a thing, you feel very deeply connected to them. But there's a sense of do you follow the heart or the head here? Because the heart wants to do something. Typically when this card shows up, it's talking about something that really calls to us, but is inconvenient, and highly irregular type of thing where it's going to definitely raise some eyebrows, or people would be upset or something. But it's just this overall question of how are you going to live your life? Are you going to move towards things that bring you alive and help you feel good and make you grateful that you incarnated and happy? Although happiness does come from within, but there is a sense of these choices that we make. Do we move towards things that bring us alive, or do we move towards things that maybe make us feel dead inside but make a lot of sense to other people and are reasonable, and we were taught to live this way? So you had some sort of question here. Again, these are on a scale of 1 to 10. You had some kind of question here with the Lover's card of what you going to do? How are you going to make this decision? How are you going to live your life? Something resonates with you, and it may not be the most convenient thing or the most logical thing in the world or the most logical next step, but something resonated with you and you've had to make some decisions. We have Four of Cups here. The way she depicts this card, it almost seems like there's protection around you, a sense of protection. But the Four of Cups in general is about something being offered, and either the offer is not being acknowledged or the offer is being refused. There's something on offer here, and there is a refusal to see it, to acknowledge it. Maybe not ready, or maybe sick of something, being sick of something. There's usually, with Four of Cups, we've got a repetitious offer. And Four of Cups, the cups being a pretty generous flowing thing, and the four being about overdone. So something's been a little bit overdone. Maybe this goose has been following this person around, and she's just had it. She does not want to be followed around anymore. So there's something being offered, and it's not seen. It's not the help or the assistance isn't really being acknowledged or accepted. So you could be offering the assistance that's not being acknowledged or accepted, or you could be the one that's sort of had it with this situation. But this Four of Cups definitely has like a sense of protection to it throughout all of this, a sense of someone wanting to provide some kind of safety. There might be a cost to that safety, or a cost to that protection that isn't very appealing to you. There's something here that's not very appealing to you, though. Some kind of offer. It's not really caught your attention. You may just be so used to this goose following around you, protecting you, or offering this that you just don't even need to acknowledge it. This Four of Cups, actually, the way she has it depicted is a little bit unusual, and it can be a little bit confusing for me as a reader, because Four of Cups generally is like stopping a cycle, stopping refusing to continue going on with something. But here we have an offer, a really lovely offer, it seems like, and she's refusing it. So in your inner landscape, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, we have the Hermit card. So you might be worried about being single. Like, if you refuse this offer, are you single now? If you refuse this offer, what do you do? Like, there's a sense of the Hermit is off by himself, alone, and figuring out his own thing. And for some reason, like, maybe you even want that. Maybe that's something you want to do, is to go off by yourself and figure out your own next steps. That's something that you're longing for. What are my next steps? What do I do? Who would I be without this goose here, always protecting me, always offering unsolicited advice, always trying to, shield me from everything in life? What would I be without that? And then this Hermit card too could be a fear of being alone, a fear that your own journey is very inexplicable, a fear of getting in touch with your own journey, or maybe even a hope that you're going to a hope of being in touch with and really understanding your own inner guidance system a little better, right? We're dealing with hopes and fears and something that's internal. So we have this Hermit card here with these the Hermit's by himself doing his own thing, and following his own light, and that could create some fear for you, especially with this Lover's card. I love the Hermit card coming out next to this Lover's card, or after this Lover's card, because the Lover's card really is something that asks us to make an unconventional choice, an unusual choice. And with this Hermit card, maybe you're wondering if you have the inner strength to be able to step out alone, to step out by yourself. Because you might be sick of being protected or overprotected, sick of being shielded from everything, tired of that, and now you may want to, you may be hoping that you have enough, that your inner guidance system is working well, and this striking out on your own, this decision to leave some sort of protected environment on your own, could be it's cause for concern. You're really looking at that very carefully, wondering if you have what it takes, wondering if your inner guidance system works, wondering, full of hope and fear about the striking off on your own. And you can't see the whole thing, so you can only see the next steps, but those next steps might feel pretty good to you, might look very enticing to you. And why would you leave this Four of Cups situation? I mean, you're just kind of tired of it. But why would you leave that protection? You might be just worried about heading out on your own and with your own journey and your own thing. And we do have this journey here that keeps coming up as far as like how I'm reading this. And then oddly, I'm just going to take this weirdo thing that happened. What's at issue here? Nine of Pentacles. It came out in the upright. I probably did that, but I didn't notice till now. So now I feel kind of hands-offy on this. Like, okay, that happened. So Nine of Pentacles, success. There's something that has been accomplished. Something that you worked hard for. Somebody worked hard for something. Nine of Pentacles is very much the entrepreneur, the sole proprietor. She's done all the work. She's done a bunch of work and really accomplished something. So that's sort of the issue, or what's at issue here, is all of this work and a sense of accomplishment, a sense of having achieved something, and a sense of ownership over that accomplishment, over that achievement. You feel like it's yours. There is a sense of ownership over this accomplishment. And there's also a sense of solo. With this Hermit card and this Nine of Pentacles, I get a sense of doing something by yourself, going out solo. This is your unique solo journey here, striking off by yourself. You might be worried about that, but it is your success. It's your journey. It's what you earned. You got it. So both the Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles are talking about doing something solo, doing something alone. And maybe this is a journey only you can go on. And this Lover's card too is like this striking out towards your passion by yourself, or you know, in an unconventional way. Maybe the conventional way would be, let's stay here, stay safe, stay in this protected place that you're sick of and you don't want to be here anymore. But what about striking out on your own? You do own something. Some of the success is yours. It's absolutely yours. And so that's the story. That's what's at issue here. In your environment, you have a Knight of Wands. This is probably a person, since it is a court card. Knight of Wands is very rash leaps of faith. Takes this wild leap of faith. The Knight of Wands is super in touch with their own inner power, inner guidance system, highly intuitive, highly creative, real willing to leap forward. So something in your environment actually could be asking you to do this wild leap forward, or it could be someone you know. Knights are about communication. Wands are about creativity. Wands are about intuition, and just really being tapped into that life force, and the energy of the, I want to say the energy of the universe, the flow of the universe, being really tapped into that. And that's what it feels like when we get these intuitive hits, that there's this flow of, it's almost like a flow of information. It's like the wires of the internet, you know, the cross ocean wires, and there's all this flow, and this information is just flowing, and it's like the Knight of Wands can just tap into that and get that communication out of there of like, what's the information now, and then take action on that. There is like a sense of movement, taking action. So something here might feel very impulsive, but also intuitive, and that impulsivity and intuitiveness are just so close. It's like twins. You can't tell the difference between them sometimes. So, and maybe sometimes they are the same thing. So Knight of Wands, fast moving communication and movement in your environment, or someone who is moving quickly, shooting from the hip and just going for something. I mean, this Knight goes for it. This communication is wild. It works, but it's wild. This movement, this leap. And then in your to-do list, we have Justice here. We have Justice always raises a question of how we go about doing what we do, right? We want a certain outcome, and what are we willing to do that? What are we willing to say and do to do that? And are we willing to compromise our values and our morals in order to do something? So there may be questions coming up about values and ethics, and sort of what your core values really are, and if you're going to be able to stick with those core values, or if what you want is so enticing that you end up leaving something behind. But justice is something getting balanced out, also some sort of truth. You could also be dealing with the justice system, maybe going to court, but there's a truth here. There's a truth that comes out, and a balance is restored. Some sort of possibly even karmic balance, some sort of things getting evened out and balanced out. A debt, you know, something that was paid, you finally get it, what you paid for, or something that you stole, the consequences come back for you. So, you know, and this is why we're careful about the ethics of what we're doing, because there's this karmic debt load that gets built up, even though we don't see it, even though it always looks like, you know, liars and cheaters are always winning. So if I want to win, I have to be a liar and a cheater. But there's a debt load that's building up behind that, unintended consequences, things we don't see, that aren't immediately apparent to the eye. And also an erosion of your own soul and integrity and connection to yourself is probably the worst consequence of doing stuff that in that manner. Not to say that it should never be done, and sometimes there is such a thing as having the luxury of your morals. But overall, you know, how are we making these decisions, and what are we doing? So Justice card, some sort of balancing out of a situation, some sort of truth coming out. This could be part of this conversation where something sort of gets put back into balance, and and some sort of truth comes out, and some sort of karmic debt is sort of repaid here. So maybe you've been offering something to someone and they haven't reciprocated, or they haven't acknowledged. This would be, you know, maybe they don't, but what goes around comes around, and maybe it's someone else that offers you protection, and maybe this person can't reciprocate, but there might be some reciprocation from somebody else, right? Sort of a massage circle where maybe you're giving someone a massage, but they're definitely not giving you one, because that's not possible, but someone else is. So sort of what goes around eventually coming around, maybe not through the exact person that you were hoping reciprocation would come from, but the debt is being paid. What's owed is being paid. So, and then possible outcome here is this Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, queens are about the inner universe, the inner vision. Swords are about knowledge, truth, communication, right? We've got a sword here in this Justice card too. So Queen of Swords would be someone who speaks their truth. They know what they think. They know what they think, and they speak it very clearly. They can come off as a little bitchy, but that's only because they're not pussyfooting around, and they're not like trying to couch their truth in the softest pillow humanity's ever experienced. So just speaking their mind. They know what they think. They know what they think. They know what their perspective is. They know what they see, and they're willing to speak it and say it. So again, referencing some kind of conversation here where someone's speaking their mind. So it looks like some sort of justice comes in. Maybe tables are turned, things get balanced out, and somebody here comes forward able to speak their mind and say what they really think about something. It doesn't have to be scary. It just is, and you know, it's a really powerful position to know what you think, to know what you believe, and to be able to communicate that clearly and unequivocally. So, all right. So I hope that was helpful for you, Cancer. Thank you for your likes, subscribes, and comments, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.